पहले उन्होंने वैराग्य का डेफिनेशन दिया हुआ है पहले अर्लियर चैप्टर्स में, बिकॉज हम लोग जैसे ही वैराग्य सोचते हैं सबसे पहले हम सोचते हैं कि सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के गुफा में बैठ जाओ कोई दैट्स नॉट व्हाट कृष्ण भगवान इज सेइंग बाय एनी मीन्स. ही इज सेइंग वैराग्य इज मेंटल. when you're not attached to the worldly things. Detachment is, and then he said जिसके पास likes और dislikes नहीं है ना वो वैरागी है. Means I don't get swayed, and he doesn't even use the word when you don't have likes and dislikes, because that's not true. As a human being, we do have likes and dislikes. You like certain food, you don't like, but you don't come under the sway of it. That's what he calls it. So you have them, you recognize them, but you don't indulge in it, but you rise above it. And we, as mothers and as wives and or husbands, we do that all the time. I don't like something, but I do it for the other person, right? Don't we do that?
Of course.
Yes. So that tells you that you are not all the time. So, I mean, men do it for us and we do it for them, and we both do it for our children. We do it for our parents, family, community. We do so many things. So it's like I don't come under the sway of my likes and dislikes, but I do what is right thing to do.
It's a mind that goes away.
Yes. So that's the Vairagya he's talking about, just to give you a little background. So then we have a correct understanding of what Vairagya is. Okay.
Krishna knew his Arjuna, the warrior, the man of action.
Can I just stop you for a second, because I have another paragraph and that comes first?
Vyasa.
Yeah. So you have it?
Yeah.
Okay, read it.
Vyasa, the immortal dramatist, in his preoccupation with the philosophical explanations, does not for a moment drop down the mantle of poetry off his shoulders. This is, in fact, the incomparable glory of the poet-philosopher Vyasa. Indeed, there is a bustling moment of dramatic possibility at this point in Gita, which any hasty artist can overlook, but not Vyasa. And in fact, it is such artistic moments fulfilled so magnanimously that give Gita the compelling charm of a magic even to those who do not understand it at all. Go ahead. Now is yours. That's fine. You can read Krishna.
Krishna knew his Arjuna, the warrior, the man of action, the daring adventurer, the ruthless realist. When such a tumultuous personality spurs himself on with a drawn dagger, as it were, either to agree with or to condemn the noble philosophy of a true missionary, the teacher must have the balance of mind to approach the rebel intellect with the divine understanding and the extreme tact. See how big his sentence is.
That's why I told the little background, because his Swamiji's style is like that.
At this juncture in the Gita, the situation in a nutshell is this. The Lord propounds the theory that the mind stilled is self-gained. The theory that the mind stilled is self-gained. And Arjuna argues that mind cannot be stilled, and so self cannot be gained.
So there is like a standoff right now. That's what it is. Krishna Bhagwan ne declare kar diya ki when mind ko tum still kar doge, that is like you get self-realized. And that not still like just for momentary thing. He's saying that, like somebody was saying when I was listening to one discourse, that we think that, hey, how is possible to work in the world and still be shant? They said, no, it's possible. Inside you can be totally calm, serene, equanimous, and outside you can be working, and other people might think that you are going up and down, but inside you are totally together. So that's what it means. And he's saying, Arjun's stand is that mind cannot be still. So that means I cannot gain the self. So that argument is going on. Yes. And then also in the earlier part, the long sentence, all he was saying is that the teacher must have, उसने तो इतना बड़ा question फेंक दिया उसके ऊपर. तो कोई दूसरा teacher होएगा who is not mature will say, oh, you don't know anything. उसको डांट डूट के भगा देगा वो. Here he's very kind and he has patience and he's going to handle him tactfully. अभी imagine war होने वाला है वहाँ पे और उस सारा war की जिम्मेदारी इसके ऊपर है. अगर कृष्णा ने इसका माइंड नहीं चेंज किया तो परिवर्तन आ ही नहीं सकता. तो कृष्णा's responsibility is also very huge. Here is a neurotic person who is having a nervous breakdown, and in the middle of the war, he has to raise him.
Let's look at it differently. Look at the mind, how it's running. And what comes to stop it is the intellect. And that's the mind is the Arjuna. The intellect is the Krishna.
And symbolically, that's true. Symbolically, it's true.
So that's what it is. Basically, for us, that's what's important.
Yeah.
How the mind runs. And then because Arjuna is us. So Arjuna is our mind. And Krishna is the intellect, the pure intellect.
Pure intellect, yes.
Yes. Which is guiding. So it has to handle. So both are in us.
The war is, that's a symbolic thing, that war is within us. And the other symbolism, if you have not heard, because this is very interesting, that there were 100 Kauravas and 5 Pandavas. So the negative forces are always more. And positive are few. But if the positive hang on to that purified intellect, then you win the war. So if you get swayed by your lower mind, you're finished. So that's why they say that, there is a definition of Sthita Prajna in chapter 2. And one of the characteristic of a Sthita Prajna is that he doesn't work from his surface of his mind. Surface of the mind, we are going to have likes, dislike, this, that, and all. He works from the depth of his mind. And we know that whenever we want to make a decision, if you make a decision in emotional state, it will be always disastrous. So we always say, let me sleep over it. Yeah. Let me think over it. And then you go and you bring your memory bank and you're intelligent or your wisdom. You might consult a friend, whatever you might do. That decision will be much better. So what you're saying is true. That right. But here, Arjuna's biggest problem was he got swayed into his emotions. So immediately he looked at those people and he forgot that he was a soldier. He had an identity crisis. He thought he was like a grandchild and, shishya and all that. He's seeing got emotional. Depth of mind is gone. So that was a good point that you brought up.
So when an impetuous man like Arjuna gets hold of an idea in all enthusiasm, the best technique is to yield to him to start with. Stooping to conquer is the secret of success in philosophical discussions, especially in such cases of prejudice natural to the ignorant. Thus, the great psychologist Krishna, with the very first word in his reply, quietly disarms his mighty adversary and tickles his vanity with the term, "No doubt, O mighty arm." Krishna admits that the mind is turbulent, strong, unyielding, and restless, and that it is very difficult to control, and therefore the goal of perfect and enduring tranquility cannot easily be achieved.
So this is what we already discussed, that he had to come down to his level and say, yes, okay, stoop to conquer. He also got lowered himself and said, yeah. Achha, this one paragraph...
Both of them are arguing.
Yeah, one, आप पढ़ लीजिए फिर, हाँ, because आप में नहीं है वो. एक और paragraph है.
Oh, okay. So this was before what he read, right?
Yeah. So we were, sorry, just to bring that context. So here वो standoff की बात कर रहे हैं अभी. हाँ.
Both of them are arguing upon the possibility of otherwise or realizing the self in the subtle kingdom within, and therefore therein no objective demonstration is ever possible. In the material sciences of the world, all arguments between scientists cannot be finally determined.
Can be finally.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
I just changed the whole concept.
It's okay.
All arguments between scientists can be finally determined and completely proved on the laboratory tables and on graph papers. But in the case of the subjective science, it being a transaction between two equally integrated personalities, arguments as such, though unavoidable, must be very carefully directed. And he is a true missionary who is a master of the psychology of his opponent. Conversion of another's intellect into the right channels is no rough act of any woodcutter or any grave digger. It is the hard but careful art of cutting jewels. He is to shape the heart of another and bring out of it more light.
Okay.
Beautifully said.
Yes, that's why it's very important, right?
Yeah.
This one, and he's talking about that whatever they were arguing about, it is a subjective science, something happening inside you. So it is not something outside objectively. I can prove it, with some kind of a experiment in my lab and bring out the result and bring a paper and you can read the paper. No, here what is happening inside us. That's why it is so difficult, and that's why his job is so difficult. It's not like a grave digger or woodcutter, but it's like a fine jewel जो उसको का और वो एक analogy बहुत अच्छी है कि एक क्या बोलते हैं उसको शिल्पकार जो होता है ना, तो वो एक पत्थर था और उसने कृष्ण की मूर्ति उसमें से निकाली because he chipped away things. So he's saying that's why we have to do our personality. Chip away everything and end mein it is like pure Atma is remaining. I thought that's such a beautiful analogy. And then somebody asked him, how did you do it? So he said, when I saw the stone, I could see Krishna in it. That's why I did it. See that? So he could already see the Krishna, and then all he has to do is take away what is not Krishna. So that's the thing, and that's what Krishna Bhagavan is doing to Arjuna.
By this admission, Arjuna is flattered. By reminding him that he is mighty armed, soldier in life, he is mentally brought to restful peace. The taunting implication in it is obvious. To achieve the impossible and the difficult,
Is the job of the mighty armed.
Okay, to achieve the impossible and the difficult is the job of the mighty armed. It is no glory for a warrior to claim that he has plucked half a dozen flowers from a bush in his own courtyard. The mind is, no doubt, a great enemy. But the greater the enemy, the nobler the victory.
So now you see why he's telling him mighty arm. It is not अगर तू mighty arm है तो थोड़ा सा छोटा मोटा काम कर दिया तो कौन सी बड़ी बात हो गई. कुछ बड़ा करके दिखा तब तो तू mighty arm हुआ. That's what he said. Is that okay, mind is not controllable, but then you are mighty arm, so then do it. I mean, it's amazing psychology. Okay.
Greater the enemy, bigger is the victory.
Bigger is a victory. We all know that कि जब कोई बहुत मेहनत करके कुछ मिलता है तो कितना मजा आता है उसमें ना. And थोड़ा सा कुछ cleaning कर दिया, झाड़ू वाड़ू कर दिया, nothing happens.
In the second line of the stanza, the eternal missionary in Krishna very carefully weighs his words and uses the most appropriate terms to soothe the mind of Arjuna. O son of Kunti, it can be brought under control, is an assertion which comes only at the very end of the stanza. Through practice and renunciation, the mind can be brought under control in the beginning, and ultimately to a perfect heart. This is the confident, reassuring declaration of the Lord in Gita.
So I think even in the worldly things, if I don't know something, I have to practice it, then I get better at it. Worldly चीज में हम लोग बहुत जल्दी मान लेते हैं इस बात को. लेकिन when it comes to meditation or anything like that, we नहीं जी नहीं होता है मेरे से, because it's like you have to.
Worldly चीजों में it's easier.
Right. But the principle is the same.
Results.
Yeah,
Here we don't see.
That's what
We see the results.
But here we don't have patience. If you have patience, you will see the results. If you see yourself, the moment people who have been meditating for a while and you ask them, some of them couldn't sit even for 2 minutes before. आंखें बंद करते डर लगता था. अब वो 20 मिनट बैठ सकते हैं, आधा घंटा बैठ सकते हैं. So we know that with practice, and this chapter is as comprehensive on meditation as it can be. It talks about your lifestyle, every little problem that can come, the goal, what you need to do, everything. And I think that anybody who's meditating, they should make a requirement to read this, if you ask me, because then there is no confusion, because there's so much confusion out there too. What it is and how it is and all that.
It's not the confusion. You 10 days you are doing really good. You can meditate very well, and then all of a sudden something happens and your practice goes, and then it's very hard to bring the harmony again and bring.
So that's exactly, he talked about all of that, all the pitfalls and then what you should not be hanging on to, because that peace also, they said, don't hang on to that peace thinking I want that peace, because that's not the goal of meditation. So there are, because that's what we think. ओ हम पीसफुल हो गए तो हमारा मेडिटेशन बहुत सक्सेसफुल हो रहा है. Well, अभी तो तुम पहुंचे भी नहीं हो वहाँ पे. That's what he.
And that's why people get frustrated that,
Yes.
oh, I have been trying for 10 years and nothing I can
And nothing
see.
is happening. Because if you read this, then you will know what he's talking about. So I think the only reason I was bringing that practice part in, because it is so important to do that. But then he's going to open it more, what it means. Okay. Yeah.
Renunciation has been already described earlier in the Gita as sannyasa, which was defined as renunciation of.
This is very important, okay? Everybody should, who doesn't have the book, can make a note of these things too.
As renunciation of A, all clinging attachments to the objects of the world. B, lingering expectations for the fruits of action. These two are the main causes for the agitation of thoughts, which further thicken the flood of the thought flow and make the mind uncontrollable. As Shankara declares, practice, abhyasa, is constant repetition of an idea regarding one and the same object of thought. The consistency of thought during steady meditation generally gets dissipated because of the frequent explosive eruptions of desires, whipped up by the new desires that are rising at every moment. The thoughts wander into dissimilar channels of activities, upsetting the inner equilibrium and thereby shattering the true vitality of the inner personality.
So here, when he says renunciation, vairagya, kya cheez se vairagya? Number one, all clinging attachment to the world of objects, objects of the world, sorry. Here, see the word he's using, clinging attachment. थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर कर लिया, कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. मेरे को भूख लगी है, मैंने खाना खा लिया, मुझे ये कपड़ा खरीदना है, मैंने खरीद लिया. पर obsessive thoughts, continuously thinking about it, after even if I, whatever I'm doing, like OCD kind of thing he's talking about, clinging. And the second one is lingering expectation of fruits of action. While working, you should not be thinking of the fruit. Nobody's saying that don't plan your thing. It's so because people misunderstand this completely. They say, oh, if I don't want result, then why will I work? So that's not what he's talking about, because for that you have to go back and read chapter 3 and 4 in detail again. What it means, fruit of action is once I plan the thing, then when I'm working, boom, I should not be worrying about the result. Results will come according to Upar wala dega result, kind of. Surrender it to him. Because results are not in our hand, and it's something futuristic. If I start thinking of the result, I'm going to ruin my present. That's what it means. So that's renunciation, because these two are the reasons he's saying we are constantly thinking. Our mind is churning. If you give up these two, your mind will be quiet anyway. So that's what the renunciation definition he's giving over here. Okay.
I mean, both are clinging and lingering. The adjectives that he's used.
Yes.
Those are important.
Lingering expectation of fruits of action.
Both of them.
Constantly.
So constant, that's it.
I mean, the kids also, when they're, I have to get an A, करके सोचते रहते हैं ना, फिर then they can't concentrate. Yeah.
Thus viewed, practice abhyasa strengthens renunciation, sannyasa, which generates detachment, vairagya, and which in its turn deepens meditation. Hand in hand, each strengthens the other. Thus, the total progress is steadily maintained.
Read that again, because that's the best part of it.
Yeah, both of them feed into each other, and you get better.
Right.
And then maybe what you can do, if he reads the second paragraph, it already opens up. But you can read it again if you want. Go ahead.
Because to me it was so important.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Thus viewed, practice strengthens renunciation, which generates detachment, and which in its turn deepens meditation. Hand in hand, each strengthens the other. Thus, the total progress is steadily maintained.
So this is the technique given for meditation. Yes. That's why.
So that's why, in most of the cases, they say you can do, you can achieve enlightenment living in this world. But it becomes easier when people go and stay away from all these things then it
temporarily
becomes
if you go, remember here also is a temporarily if you go fine, but if you have not achieved that while living in the world, you have gained nothing. Because एक दृष्टांत ये है कि एक आदमी बोला कि मैं ना गुस्से पे विजय पाली, अब वो गुफा में जाके बैठ गया, फिर वो बाहर निकला तो किसी ने बोला अच्छा जी आपने विजय पाली गुस्से पे, बोला हाँ, तो उसको भड़काता गया तो फिर ये एकदम गुस्सा हो गया तो बोला देख, तो मतलब इट्स सो इजी कि एक वैराग एक कोने में जाके बैठ जाओ, किसी से बात मत करो, मौन व्रत ले लो, अरे नहीं, कृष्ण भगवान इज सेइंग सबके बीच में सब लड़ रहे हैं और तुम अपना इक्वानिमिटी रखो, दैट्स कॉल्ड वैराग्य ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट. सो टेम्पररली इफ यू पुटिंग फेंस अराउंड योरसेल्फ इट्स फाइन, बट एब्सोल्युटली दैट्स नॉट द फाइनल गोल. Because when he talks about that equanimity has to come, and then he has used so many verses and all, when he says no matter what happens in the world, no matter कितना भी बड़ा दुख आए, because हम लोग को लगता है कि नहीं यहाँ तक तो ठीक है, इसके बाद this doesn't work. So that's where he shatters our understanding, and he said no, when that person gets up there established, it becomes like a dreamland to him.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
it's a different state.
It's a different state already. हम लोग को लगता है कि ये रियल है, उसको लगता है ये है ही नहीं रियल, तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है. कोई भी मूवी देख रहे हैं हम, और अगर if some murder is happening, it's not contaminating the screen. That's how this realized person looks at it. You know, it is such a great analogy, right? A flood comes, it's not wetting the screen, and the screen is like that Atman. He knows that Atman is not getting affected, and he knows that knowledge 24/7 all the time. And I think another best analogy he gave was Swamiji only gave an actor when he acts. Somewhere deep inside he knows who he is. That's why he can act so good. अगर वो भूल जाए कि मैं कौन हूँ, तो और घर जाके भी वो वैसे ही एक्ट करने लगे तो उसको पागल खाने में भेज देंगे.
But this is how 4 stages of our life are described. Brahmacharya, Grasthashram, Vanprasthashram and Sannyasashram. And usually even the kings, they used to leave their kingdom and go and stay in the jungles, so that in sannyas ashram they can just totally focus on achieving enlightenment.
I know, but this is the problem, that they gave that, but firstly those ashrams are just for like a common man, but there are people who are sannyasi from the childhood. They can jump to the sannyas ashram.
So
firstly, I just wanted to clarify. It's not like everybody has to go through this.
They're born with that.
Yeah. So then those are just little guidelines.
Very exceptions.
Yeah.
But for majority, I myself feel that living in this world is very hard to attain the detachment, the vairagya, and what is the other word?
Abhyas and vairagya.
Yeah, it's little hard, but if I live in an ashram where live in a place where these things are not boggling.
See, one of the reasons that Bhagavad Gita came about is exactly for the same reason, because Arjun already knew the Shastras very well. But then his thinking was getting totally lopsided. He was thinking exactly what you are saying. And Krishna Bhagwan said, no, you cannot do that. And then nobody's saying that, because that is going a little more technical way, that there are 2 marg, ek pura virakt ka marg aur ye dusra wala. What he's saying that no matter where you are, what you are doing, what your job is, which sansar you are living in, you can still get the realization. You see the difference? Because in your mind, hey, this is difficult.
But you have to work more harder. When you are living in this world, it will be harder than like Gautam Buddha, that he just sit under the tree. And
you have to be Gautam Buddha. His journey started.
When did his journey start?
Exactly. He was like he was born to do this, and that also will come in this chapter only. That when Arjun asked him that, look, I'm making all this. You're telling me to do all this. Okay, I do all this practice, and tomorrow I die in the middle. What will happen to all my practice? Does it go waste? And the analogy he uses is like, क्या मैं एक बादल की तरह छिन्न भिन्न हो जाऊंगा? Because बादल जब टूटता है ना, तो यहाँ वहाँ चला जाता, पता भी नहीं चलता कहाँ चला गया. So he's saying, no, nothing you do in this is going to get ever wasted. Next time you'll be born in such a place, you will start your journey right from there. Either you will be born in a yogi's place, or a place where you don't have to struggle to do daily, earning money, and in a very sattvic family, and then you can start your practice immediately and all that. So whatever questions you have, all of them are there, but it's like what my own vasanas I'm born with. If you have an extreme vairagya, by all means, you can go and sit down in a gufa and do it. But if I don't have that, if I do hastily go over there, that's what Arjuna was trying to do. Hey, I have to kill my grandfather and my guru. Why are you telling me to do such a ghor karma? Why don't I go sit under a tree? And Krishna Bhagwan said, tu wahan jayega, teko yuddh hi yaad aayega wahan pe. So your journey starts from here, and then and then he says, while doing your work, you can get self-realized too. So that's
all
what
comes up to the mind, your inner mind.
Yeah.
But I think what she's saying, see, if you can get away from here, go someplace where
मेरे को
all
बहुत
this
ही heat लग
attraction,
रही है।
बंद
मेरे
कर
को
दो
भी
इसको,
बहुत
हाँ, मेरा
बंद कर दो इसको. If all these distractions are not there, it would be easier. That's what she's saying. And yeah, that's true. But can you do that? Can you get away from that? If you cannot, then you have to live here and then go with this.
There's one more thing. You think that by getting away, but if your vasanas are not gone, you will sit in the gufa and you will think about it, and he calls that a hypocrite. कि ऊपर से तो चोला पहन लिया और बोला कि मैं वैरागी हो गया हूँ, अंदर मन में फिर इतना सब चल रहा है. तो he saying कि जहाँ तुम हो वहाँ learn करो. And like Maharaj.
Simple example, like we have the phone.